What's up, guys? Welcome back to Breakout Trading. Today is Thursday, October 8th, and I'm going to be going over the trades I made today. So we're on day 8 of the Trade Zero account, and so far we are down 7%, which is not ideal. Down $63, and pretty much all that damage was done last Friday when I had that really bad losing day. I didn't make a video that day because I was kind of bummed. But I ended up losing 82 that day, and this just reinforces the issue with my trading, where I do good generally. I'm a break-even trader. You know, I break even mostly, and then when I get a bit of a win streak going, if I had that win streak and then I just kept breaking even, then it would compound, right? But I keep going a bit, boom, and then I have a huge red day. So that's the only thing standing in my way, really, of becoming somewhat profitable, is controlling those big red days. Anyways, today, this is going to be a bit quicker of a video. I'm doing this late. I had a bunch of stuff to do today, so I'm just going to kind of bang this one out, just so the series is, you know, every single day I like to be consistent with the videos. So, so far today, or not so far, market's long closed, but so today we are down 1180. We started off being up $10, and then I came back and gave it all back because I was just took some trades, or a trade on AGE that I shouldn't have. After my really nice morning trade, I should have just left it at that, but you know, I guess I just overstayed my welcome today. So it was a pretty boring day to start. The gap scanner was pretty slow, and there wasn't really anything crazy that caught my eye. AGE, I'm just going to say AGE, was a gapper. It was the leading gapper, and the first trade I took on it was sort of like a flag pattern consolidation type trade. So basically, if you look over on this chart here, this is the morning here, and you can see that we had some really nice volume on the open. We had we made like a high up here. High, we sold off a bit, and then whenever a stock goes from the low of the day right back up to the high of the day and past it, that's really bullish. So this thing popped up. I didn't catch any of this move or any of this move, but I knew that after this move it probably had some more in it. So I waited patiently for a low volume pullback, and you can see here how the volume kind of declines while this thing's consolidating. That's really bullish. What happened was, this is a technique I've been using for a little while now, is on the consolidation here, I wait for like a low to be put in, right? Like for example right there, and then the next time the stock comes down towards this low, that's what I can use to risk off of. So my stop loss was right underneath this, because I knew as soon as this broke, if this broke below right here, it was probably going to come down to VWAP, and then if I stopped out, I could re-enter again at VWAP, because VWAP would also be support. So yeah, just waiting for this little bottom here really allows me to define my entry a lot better, and you can see I got a really killer entry right there, and my stop loss was basically right here. And I was okay, so sorry, I lied. So my stop loss wasn't right there, but it was what helped me get my entry. And I didn't go full size because I was prepared to add like another tier right here if we broke through this and then managed to bounce off VWAP. So generally my stop losses are always below VWAP, but even though my stop loss wasn't below here, it's still like a good mental stop kind of thing. Like if it breaks below this, maybe do I add another tier, or do I just hold what I have and keep my stop below VWAP? So yeah, really good entry. And then as you can see here, we had a bit of like a downtrend line right here, and price popped through that really, really strongly, and we were immediately through the high of day at that point, so I just took it off right there. Great trade, $10 net profit on that one. And you can see we went up a bit more, and on the daily chart there was resistance at $4, and you can see we went right up to $4 area, and then had a heavy sell-off. So yeah, really happy with this trade. Execution was great. Yeah, everything went well there. So that's why I rated this execution 9 out of 10. And then that was pretty much it for like the morning. And then I went off, and the second trade, so unfortunately I ended up giving back all those gains on the second trade. So Pretty stupid, but it was a promising setup. But I've seen this before where this is what happens. There's a strong stock in the morning, it pulls back, it gets below VWAP, finds some sort of base, and then when it comes back above VWAP here, it almost always fails. And then there's like the odd time that it does work, but you can see I didn't even like buy anywhere in this region. I let it break through VWAP first, let it test VWAP as support like multiple times, and then right here when I thought it was going to kind of break out of this consolidation like here and then push higher, squeeze higher, I got long. So that's my long entry right there, and tight stop below these pivot lows, and you know, stop out there. So it was a good trade, honestly. I'm just kind of bummed that I took it because I should have just left it and as the first one. Left the first one knowing that this is where the best volume is. You can see the difference in volume here versus here. There was just, it was kind of picking up, but there wasn't nearly as much as the morning. So I should have just left this one alone and not gotten lured into whatever games they were trying to play. So yes, H second trade was not nearly as good. I thought there was a chance it could squeeze because it was so strong in the morning. So I went for the VWAP reclaim setup, which is this, where it kind of just reclaims above VWAP. Every time I do this trade to the long side, it kind of ends up being a loser, like more times than not. Do not go long on VWAP reclaims at low volume times like lunch. So yeah, this is no good, the volume here, and it's not going to justify this move. I was trying to get in a little bit early, but normally you want to wait for these things to like go, you know, maybe up to like the high of day, and then you can like think about getting an entry on like, you know, the high of day is now support, and then look for a move up. So that would have been the better cases, to not be the first one through the door. In trading, you never want to be the first one taking the stab. Yeah, so gave back all the gains then. So I was break even on the day, and immediately when that happens, you kind of go into the mindset of, okay, now I need to get a green trade because I was green and now I'm red, and I need to obviously get back to green. So that can kind of be a recipe for disaster. The third trade of the day here was on GameStop. So this is one that I usually don't do. It was a breaking news trade, and what happened was news was released that they had a 2-year partnership with Microsoft. So anytime there's like a big name like that, like an Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google partnership, that's really big. So the news dropped, and this thing was initially instantly halted, like way down here, and then when it opened at like 1040, I think it was, and it just ripped. And I initially had a market order that I was going to get in as soon as it opened from the halt, but I didn't end up pushing buy because it just ripped up so fast. So it halted again right here, and then when it opened, it kind of chopped around a bit. And on this dip here, so I knew I didn't want to just buy the top. I wanted to wait for a big pullback. So I saw this big pullback, and I was obviously trying to buy down here, but I ended up getting a really bad fill way up here. And it's because I got such a bad fill, I ended up just getting out right here for a $4 gain, $2 net profit. So kind of a stupid trade. It ended up ripping a lot higher later in the day. And this is something I also wanted to go over because I should have just held this, because how this worked was it ripped up so fast and so hard on such good news. All the major short positions in this really wanted to cover their position when the end of the day was nearing. So as the end of the day came, no one wanted to hold this thing overnight, so it started to squeeze. So should have obviously held that longer. Yeah, not much to say about that. It's not really a setup I usually take, breaking news trades, but it ended up working in this case, and obviously it looks like I should have held that a bit longer. So bad execution on that one, just not really like that good of a setup. Even though it ended up going higher, it's just kind of risky. Yeah, you should have held this longer, because once the market started to close, a lot of shorts started covering their position and things really started to squeeze. Yeah, the short sellers on GME are big money players, so this isn't a small cap. They are not like the ones who short small caps. There is a huge short position in the stock. The news and price popped extremely fast, leaving them trapped and forced to cover their position. So yeah, this is definitely a very predictable short squeeze. Michael Edward in the TTG chat room called it out. he profited very nicely on this, and so did some of the other members. I should have been a bit more patient with this and realized how many shorts are actually trapped. So this was a disaster. So at this point I was like kind of like just break even on the day, still up like $2. And then the last trade of the day here was similar to CVV yesterday, where I shorted the parabolic move, and I did that again today on CEI. So unfortunately, after my first ad, let me zoom in a bit more here. So after this first entry here, my charts actually like completely froze, and I was unable to add any more to raise my average up. So that sucks, because when I closed the platform and reopened it, we were already selling off here. So I didn't really get a chance to like add more. But one thing I did do good is I see how much further down I covered my position compared to yesterday. So yesterday I pretty much top ticked the thing, but I covered like here, and today I held much lower, which I'm really proud of. So that was really good there. This was one trade here, and then I guess I kind of got like greedy, but to me it looked like the thing still had a ton of room to come down. But I guess I underestimated how strong VWAP would have held up, because I swear if I tried to long this thing, it would have never worked. But anyways, I ended up going short again right here on this pop, and then again here. So I was top taking the bounce as well, but what I did wrong is I didn't cover into any of the flushes. And what I was hoping was there was like a bounce here, bounce here, bounce here. I was hoping this sort of support line would break and the thing would just end up tanking. But as we got closer to the bell, you can see here's like the end of the day, the thing just started to squeeze, and I held it a little bit after hours, and I was trying to cut my loss above here and market order out, but I literally couldn't market order out. I couldn't figure out why, and then I remembered that there's no market orders in after hour session, so I ended up limit ordering out at like the top, which is super annoying. And then I obviously gave back like everything today. That was the loss today. It was just failing to cover this thing over these highs, and I guess not really expecting this thing to pop back up. Like honestly, that caught me by surprise. I was expecting it to just boom. Like I was expecting something like that where it would just completely sell off. So definitely not what I was expecting, but I should have cut my loss much quicker. It was my mistake there. Yeah, so yeah, I was writing this thing as I was in the position, and then I said, wow, of course it squeezes into the highs. So annoying. So yeah, that's pretty annoying, but you know, it's my fault for not cutting the loss above those two little highs, and I did not expect that. So just a lesson in you got to nail and bail more, and don't underestimate VWAP, because VWAP can be a very powerful support or resistance. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a pretty decent day. Nothing crazy. I had my first trade of the day was absolutely excellent. Second trade, really not the greatest setup, but it was still a pretty good stop out, good entry and a good stop out. I gave the thing a chance there to consolidate over VWAP. The GameStop trade I didn't like. I probably won't do many of those again, even though it would have ended up working nicely. And the CEI short, I should have added more. Once it went just literally straight up parabolic, I should have had a second tier and then covered it all, where I covered the first trade down there at VWAP. So yeah, just learning. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Adios.